Listen carefully. If you found this message today, it is not random. Something unseen guided you here because your soul needed to hear this exact truth right now. You may not feel strong. You may not feel successful. You may even feel tired of trying. But heaven is watching you. And today, God is proud of you. Yes, you. Not the version of you that smiles in front of others, but the real you, the one who keeps going even when no one claps, the one who wakes up every day carrying invisible weight, the one who keeps faith alive even when answers stay silent. God sees what people don't see. People see your progress. God sees your pain. People see your results. God sees your effort. People see the days you survived. God sees the nights you cried quietly so no one would know how broken you felt. There were moments when you questioned everything. Moments when you asked yourself, why is this taking so long? Moments when you wondered if God had forgotten you. But let me tell you something with absolute truth, God never left you. Not once. Not even in your darkest hour. When you felt alone, God was closer than you realized. When you felt weak, God was strengthening you silently. When you felt delayed, God was protecting you from something you couldn't see yet. You have been walking a hard road. A road that required patience when you wanted speed. Faith when you wanted proof. Strength when you felt empty. And still, you didn't quit. That is why God is proud of you. You didn't become bitter when life hurt you. You didn't turn cruel when people betrayed you. You didn't lose your character when circumstances tried to break you. You chose to stay kind in a world that rewarded hardness. You chose honesty when lying would have been easier. You chose to keep believing when giving up felt more logical. That choice matters more than you know. There were days when your prayers felt unanswered. Days when heaven felt silent. Days when you whispered, God, are you even listening? He was listening. Every word. Every tear. Every silent cry your mouth couldn't speak. Sometimes God's silence is not absence. It is preparation. You were being shaped, not punished. You were being trained, not rejected. You were being protected, not delayed. If God had given you what you asked for earlier, it might have destroyed you instead of blessing you. So He waited, not because He didn't care, but because He cared too much. You survived things that should have broken you. You stood up after moments that should have ended you. You carried pain while still showing up for life. That strength did not come from you alone. God placed it inside you. Every time you wanted to stop but didn't, God was proud. Every time you stayed faithful while feeling forgotten, God was proud. Every time you chose hope over despair, God was proud. You may feel like nothing is changing, but things are moving in ways you cannot yet see. Roots grow in silence before anything breaks the surface. And trust me, your roots are deep. God is not finished with your story. This chapter is not the end. This struggle is not your identity. What is coming will make sense of what you endured. One day you will look back and realize, the delay saved you, the pain shaped you, and the waiting prepared you. God is proud not because you were perfect, but because you were faithful. Not because you never doubted, but because you never stopped coming back. Not because you were strong all the time, but because you kept standing up. If your heart feels heavy today, let this truth rest inside you. Heaven knows your name. Heaven knows your fight. Heaven knows your tears. And today, with love deeper than words, God is saying to you, I see you. I know what you've carried. I know what you've survived. And I am proud of you. Hold on a little longer. Keep walking. Keep believing. What God has prepared for you is worth every step you took in the dark. Stop for a moment. Before you scroll. Before you doubt. Before you give up. If this message reached you today, it wasn't by accident. Something greater than chance led you here, because your heart needs this reminder right now. You may feel unnoticed. You may feel exhausted. You may feel like your efforts don't matter anymore. But hear this clearly, heaven is watching you. And today, God is proud of you. Not because everything in your life is perfect. Not because you never failed. Not because you always stayed strong. God is proud of you because you kept going when stopping would have been easier. People see your outer life, but God sees your inner battles. They see you functioning, but God sees you fighting. They see your smile, but God sees the weight behind it. They see your survival, but God sees the cost of it. There were nights when your heart felt heavy and your mind wouldn't rest. Nights when you stared at the ceiling wondering how much longer you could hold on. Days when you questioned your worth, your direction, even your faith. Moments when you whispered prayers that felt too weak to reach heaven. But every single one of those prayers was heard. God heard the prayers you spoke out loud. And the ones you only cried through tears. God saw the moments when you showed up for life even though your soul felt tired. God saw you choosing responsibility over rest, hope over despair, faith over fear. You have walked through seasons that tested you deeply. Seasons where nothing made sense. Seasons where progress felt invisible. Seasons where you gave your best and still felt like it wasn't enough. And yet, you didn't quit. That matters more than you realize. You didn't let pain turn you bitter. You didn't let betrayal turn you cruel. You didn't let disappointment turn you faithless. You stayed kind in a world that rewards hardness. You stayed honest when shortcuts were available. You stayed humble even when life treated you unfairly. That kind of strength is rare. There were times when you felt forgotten. Times when it seemed like everyone else was moving forward while you stayed stuck. Times when you wondered if God was silent because he no longer cared. But God's silence is never absence. Sometimes God is quiet because he is working where you cannot see. Sometimes he is delaying because he is protecting you. Sometimes he is saying, not yet, because right now would hurt you instead of helping you. You were not being punished, you were being prepared. You were not being ignored, you were being shaped. You were not being denied, you were being aligned. If God had given you what you asked for earlier, you might not have been ready to carry it. So he strengthened your character before changing your circumstances. You survived things that should have broken you. You endured seasons that drained you emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You kept showing up even when motivation disappeared. That endurance did not come from you alone. God placed it inside you. Every time you felt weak but kept moving, God noticed. Every time you doubted but still prayed, God noticed. Every time you wanted to give up but chose to hold on, God noticed. And heaven calls that faith. Right now, you may feel like nothing is changing. But growth often happens underground before it shows above the surface. Roots grow in silence. Foundations are built where no one claps. And your foundation is strong. Your story is not over. This delay is not denial. This struggle is not your destination. One day, you will look back and understand why it had to happen this way. You will see how the waiting protected you, the pain matured you, and the silence taught you trust. God is proud of you not because you were perfect, but because you were faithful. Not because you never fell, but because you always stood back up. Not because you never questioned, but because you never completely walked away. If your heart feels heavy today, let this truth settle deep inside you. Heaven knows your name. Heaven knows your journey. Heaven knows what you've carried alone. And today, gently but powerfully, God is saying, I see you. I know what you've endured. I know how hard you tried. And I am proud of you. Hold on a little longer. Trust a little deeper. Keep walking even when the path feels unclear. What God is preparing for you is worth every silent tear, every delayed answer, and every step you took without knowing how it would end. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not behind. You are becoming.